Hello everyone, Mike with Spray Jones coming to you with another video on spray foam products and spray foam insulation. What you get on this channel, if you're new and checking this out, is an education on spray foam insulation, a little bit on the equipment, but a lot on the building science and the technology on how it's installed, why it's installed, what it can and can't do, how to avoid problems, and how to get educated so you understand good product from bad product. And the purpose of this is to dispel the myths and the fear and the outright lies that are in the industry so that you can trust the product, trust the process, weed out the bad installers and bad products, and be a more educated and prepared consumer. Whether you're the end user or you're the general contractor, this is to bring up your spray foam IQ. Today I'm doing a video on why daily work logs are necessary and the way of the future. I know it's a little bit of a boring topic, but it's very, very relevant because at some point you're going to have somebody installing foam for you and you want to see and know that they're recording parameters. Now in Canada this is mandatory. We have this as part of the standard nationwide that we have to adhere to. So we have to take a registered building code certified foam that meets the building code standard, and then with that we have to have a certified installer, and then we have to record what we're doing. So I've always said it this way: part one is to have the certified registered product, part two is to have the certified installer, which thereby works for a licensed and insured company. You can't have one without the other. And then the third and final thing is that they're recording everything that they do. So there's nobody in the industry that's supposed to be doing freelance. You know, you don't sit there and say, well, I decided to pick up a couple of jobs here that need spray foam. I've never done spray foam before, but I found a guy on the internet, on Craigslist or Kijiji or whatever, and he'll come spray for me for $175 a day. And he's like a mobile mechanic kind of a guy. He's a mobile person. He comes with his duffel bag and his mask, and all I got to do is get the equipment and he'll put it on for me. That's not how it's supposed to be working. You're a certified installation company, your company's registered, and then you register the installers that are under your insurance and guidance. This is what the daily work log looks like. Everything has gone paperless. I've chosen to do this video on the Huntsman product because it's in Canada and it's in the US. And what the installer would do is begin by filling in their name. You have the ability to do a drop-down box. You can see that this is already auto-loaded for our company, and then it auto-loads the date, and then you just start checking off things like, are you doing the 1/3 air change per hour? Is the spray area isolated? Are your warning signs posted? And then add the name of the person that you have as an apprentice. Customer name would just be ABC Company, right? And then email address, self-explanatory. It's unoccupied, it's new construction, maybe it's residential, maybe it's commercial. We'll put commercial here. Is a building permit posted? We'll just say yes. We'll just put NA, not available. Total area, wall area that you're doing, let's just say it in square feet. We're going to say 1,000 square feet. Right? Project name. Right? So you just keep going on and entering in your fields and then what you're doing, wall foam for basement. So, and then they've got questions here. Persons or company responsible for the thermal barrier, Spray Jones. You put them in. So then we select which product on the Huntsman that we're putting on. We're putting on the Heatlock Soya. Okay. They're already reminding us that certain products can't be installed after a certain deadline. They're phasing out some. And then they're going to record things here, like what are your drum temperatures, in Celsius here, 20 degrees. And this is going to help diagnose things. Like if you have a problem and you sit there and say, well, hey, my foam was cracking or disbonding. Well, what were the drum temperatures? Well, they recorded it at, 3 degrees Celsius, or let's change it to Fahrenheit, 33 Fahrenheit. Well, that's pretty cold. So right away they can diagnose and say, if you were truthful in the information. Now that's the thing, you can always lie, but the idea is that you should be doing, it's not a black box recorder where you have no choice. You can get those. The newest pumps have those where they'll record outside parameters, inside parameters, and there's a data log. It's like an OBD, an online onboard data collection system. But they want to know, how many cycles have you used on your pumps. So you can see, if you claim that you're putting on 4 inches and you only did 200 cycles, but you should have been 400 or 500, well then you know that they didn't put anywhere near the amount of foam on. So then they record your isocyanate label. Is it expired? Are you using old product? You can enter the details here. Here's your lot number. Here's your date of manufacture. Here's your expiry date. You can take that right off the label, or they give the option with your tablet to just save a picture and take a picture of the label if you don't want to enter it all in. Your manufactured equipment, they want to know whether you're using home-built equipment or some ancient pump. Here we can put in an ancient pump. Gusmer FF, the very first spray pump, right? FF 1000. Mixing chamber size, AR 4242, for the Fusion air purge gun. Hose length, they want to know how much hose in feet. Maybe we got 200 feet. So, and then what your pressures are. So we're going to spray maybe at 1000 psi, right? Resin 1000 psi. So everything is recorded. Your temperature settings are recorded. Now, when you're turning your pressures up or down, you can turn the pressure down too low that it's not going to mix adequately. You could do that. I mean, most of the machines are going to put out 700-800 psi minimum anyhow, and that's more than enough to make the mix. They just want to have a record of what you were doing. I mean, open cell foam usually is going to be mixing at 14 to 1500 psi. You need a lot more pressure in order to mix it properly. So it's just a way of recording what was going on that day and then what the environmental conditions are. Ambient temperature, your relative humidity, wind speed if you're outside, substrate temperature, very important so they can see if you were approaching dew point or humidity index, type of substrate that you're spraying to, wood or OSB, or you can sit here and put concrete block wall, cast in place concrete, right? Is it clean? Yes. Dry? Yes. These are default. Properly fastened, but of course, proper adhesion? Yes. Yes to all of the above, right? Special conditions, is a primer required? No. Protection required? No, right? Exterior coating? No, right? Internal thermal barrier. Now, density testing. I've talked about this and I'm going to do a specific video on this. I believe in America and in Canada you should be doing density testing on the 2-pound closed cell foam all the time. Now, obviously if you're just going in and doing a little job, a little area under the stairs or the front walk or something like that, it's not really necessary. Even some joist end jobs, doing a small amount of joist end job, it's not really necessary or even practical. But if you're starting to spray some wall sections, you're starting to spray some basement sections, you're spraying some roof sections, there's no reason why you can't cut and pop a piece off. There's multiple ways to get your sample. But you should be going in at the morning, get your gun dialed in, get your pattern spraying right, and then at some point spray out your test piece and run a quick sample. This is where your helper can be doing it. And you get to see right away if you're dialed in. You get to see the density, you get to see if you're making a 2.2 or 2.3 pound per cubic foot foam versus a 1.8, 1.9, but you also can see if something's gone drastically wrong, like especially if you've switched over from open cell foam, half-pound foam back into closed cell. You can see what your cell structure is like. You can run a density check, make sure you're in the 2 pounds per cubic foot, and make sure the density is not 1.5, 1.7, and you've got water still in the mixture. Adhesion test is another thing that's mandatory that I think should be tested and recorded. You should be taking the plug cutter, cutting into the foam and doing a pull test on the substrate to make sure that the foam is sticking. We've even had foam fail the plug test because we got into wet OSB, wet concrete. It was damp, it was coming through, and it looked like it was adhered. Now, generally speaking, if it's not adhering, you're going to know about it right away. It's very, very rare that anything ever looks good but isn't good. Very rare. But there's the odd time, and I had a job that was damp, and just along the wall that was in the shade, it was still wet from the rain the day before, and that area failed the pull test. So what do? Well, you cut it back, and you remove the foam, and find an area that it is adhered, and then remove the failed sections. Co-adhesion is just the foam sticking to itself. There's really not too much way to test for that, other than you cut your plug, and you're going to see if the second pass is bonding to the first pass. And then listing corrective actions, right? If a primer needed to be installed, or if there was something in the way, or whatever you needed to do, or recorded test actions that you've taken, this is the place to do it. And then they put their name in, and then by entering my name, I hereby confirm the information provided in this form is complete and accurate, and then you send this on, and it's off to the cloud. So I think this is as modern as tomorrow. I think it's absolutely necessary in the United States and in Canada. Canada's already law, but it's going to be law in the US if it isn't already. And tablets are the way of the future. Smartphone is the way of the future. You can have the app on your phone, take you right to the website, upload the information, and away you go. I really like the new technology that's coming with the apps, so that you can fill out the daily work log offline. You don't have to have an internet connection. You just need an internet connection in order to upload it. But you can record all of your parameters, save it, and then when you get back into good cell phone coverage, Wi-Fi coverage, then you can upload it, and all your records are there. The beauty about this is when it's time to do inspections or audits or annual renewals and things like that, they can come in, they can audit the installers very, very quickly, take a look at their daily work logs, see if anything's missing. And for me as an installer, or a installation company with installers working for me, I don't have to worry about, did my guys fill it out or not? It's all there, it's all online. I don't have to be concerned about sending it in and keeping the records. They're keeping the records, it's all uploaded to the cloud. Anybody can see it, and if there is an issue, I can go back into the data log, enter the dates as to when we installed, find the daily work log, pull the thing, and get a PDF copy that I can email, print off, or send to the client or whatever. And I have done that. I have done that when somebody questioned what we were doing one time, and just for thoroughness, I went and pulled the log and checked the entry for the day, and checked other jobs that had been done on that lot number, and knew that everything was fine. I knew right away, but that's what I was doing in order to be thorough. So I think daily work logs are the way of the future, and I think they will be coming, and just you as the consumer and the installer can get educated on this as to what these look like. Everybody might be a little bit different in how they tweak the form, but the capture of the information is what's important, and verifying that things are being done properly. Now, you can lie on the form. You can absolutely lie, all right? It's only up to the truthfulness of the installer, but that's no different than filling out your income tax return or anything else in life, your medical information or something like that, right? You can lie to your doctor, you can lie to your judge and your lawyer, and you can lie to your boss, right? So that doesn't stop human nature, but at least gives an opportunity to be recording. And I'll be honest with where this goes. The people that want to cut corners don't want to fill forms out. They really don't. They get aggravated, they get annoyed, and when you start to shine the light into the corners of their life and into the corners of the job and say, look, you need to record the humidity, they don't even own the gauge, right? They never even know what you're talking about. They don't own a test kit, because these test kits for doing the density start at about $500 to buy. So it weeds out very, very quickly the guys that are predisposed to having trouble and cutting corners and not wanting to do it. What it doesn't remove is a guy having a bad day, right? But it can record what's going on and have a record of it. And I find that the people that really care and have a career mindset, they want to fill the forms out. They want to have it filled out properly. They know that this is important, and there is a track record of what they're doing, and they've signed their name to it. That's another thing. Our guys all have ID cards. They have to have their ID card filled in, like they have to fill their number in order to fill in the form and upload the form. So I think this is the way of the future. Definitely is here to stay. I know this isn't the most exciting video on spray foam, but it does bring your IQ up into what to look for. And thanks for sticking around. Thanks for liking and subscribing, and we'll catch you on another one.